Going to be talking about the situation going on in South Africa with the South Africans, or some South Africans, because I've seen other South Africans going against it. Some South Africans being saying immigrants are the ones taking their job, and some violent situations have erupted that I've seen. Some very dehumanizing situations that I've seen, with videos of some women being assaulted. You know, it's really black men assaulting, harassing black women. So, you know, black people are harassing themselves. I'm not even against, harassing anybody regardless of their race. That's not my point. But my point is, how do we say we don't want something to be done to us, but we do it to ourselves, and we expect that somebody else will not do it to us? It makes no sense. It's just like it just makes no sense. But that's not the main focus. The main focus is it's this ideology that pops up or pops out from citizens, from situations when politicians globally, when they fail their citizens with what they're supposed to do, to provide and put the priority of their citizens in place. When they fail the citizens, they send out their agents to start bringing up the rhetoric of immigrants are taking our jobs, immigrants this, or bring out racial issues, or bring out ethnic or tribal issues, to just distract the people from the main thing that they're supposed to focus on. It's a global thing. It happens everywhere. In history, I can, look back in time to, these two examples that has happened between Ghana and Nigeria. At first, it was Nigerians in Ghana, doing businesses, striving, adding value to the economy. At some point, the Ghanaian government were failing Ghanaians by then, and they propped up these agents again to bring up the ideology that the Nigerian immigrants in Ghana are the ones taking over their job, taking over their well-being. So what then happens? They said Nigerians should leave. So Nigerians left. A lot of Nigerians lost all their means of subsistence, income. Those that were once rich became poor. That's how bad that was. And when they left, you would think that Ghana will become a El Dorado, and that Ghanaians will now have the job. Then Ghanaians will now have all this business, and Ghanaians will be rich. But the opposite happened. The realization comes to place to understand that immigration is a global phenomenon from time immemorial. Whatever book you believe in, Bible, as a Christian, Quran, there's always immigration. And reasons people immigrate are usually more because of, physical, physiological, economic reasons, and or even natural reasons, natural occurrence, that could happen, like famine, like natural disasters, that'll make people move from one place to the other. So when people move, or when people go to other places, you might have your reservations about what that society that they're moving to have in preparation for them, what amenities are in place, can it serve that number of people coming into the society? Yeah, that's a good logical standpoint, to make sure that whichever government is in place creates that needed arrangements to accommodate that number of people, so that when this number of people come in, they can assimilate and function properly with supporting the society or the economy of whichever their host communities are. So I'm not in support of the people who are immigrants, maybe go and do violent stuff or get involved in crime. Yeah, those should be dealt with in the legal system, not even, lynching or harassing people all around. If you feel like Nigeria and South Africa are doing something wrong, it's still based back to the fact that your government is failing you and you're not realizing it. Because rather than make the government do what they have to do, if you feel that you don't want immigrants anymore in South Africa, reach out to your representatives, to the members of parliament, reach out to your local council or state governors, and let them enact laws that says, yeah, no more immigrants in South Africa. And what would then happen is your embassies all across, Africa or anywhere else in the world will stop issuing visas or, whatever to people coming into that country, and that's it. That solves the problem. But if that's not happening, and you have people coming in and you expect that people would come in and they would not want to stay, I would advise you to do it legally. So that should be a normal situation. If you think, oh, they're taking small scale businesses and all that, it's your government. Your government is not making South Africans competitive. The government can help South Africans with, programs, welfare programs, social welfare programs, or even business welfare or entrepreneurial welfare programs that can enable them start up the same business that these immigrants will come in do. And with no time, you would even phase out the immigrants or create good competition that allows for everybody to progress and make money, But rather than focus on that, you're all about abusing or harassing people all around and claiming, oh, you're more concerned about the South Africans or your people. No. So that's my point. My point is immigration or immigration issues are a global thing, that is not affixed to only Africa alone. Europeans once moved all around the world. As a matter of fact, they moved to South Africa, they moved to America, they moved everywhere else in the world. Why did they move? At some point, Europe wasn't having it. There wasn't enough to do in Europe to serve the population. So there was a need to go elsewhere, go look for resources, go look for ideas, go look for means, or go look for land. Because also remember, the weather situation in Europe is not really so favorable to farming. So they needed all this. And, they started as well with trade. The same thing that happened with the Arabs. They did the same, So it's a global thing. But my point is that does not take away the fact that wherever you are as an immigrant, you should not respect your host community and assimilate properly and do business legally. So, but if you're not doing that and some group of persons feel like, oh, they can get you out or, harass you out of society, it's them not realizing that the government has failed them. And the reality comes to play. So in Nigeria, back to the story again, in Nigeria, the same thing happened where the Shagari government felt like, oh, we need to blame somebody for our failures, for whatever political failure they have. And they blamed the Ghanaians in Nigeria. And what did Nigerians do? Ghana must go. So all Ghanaians left, or majority of the Ghanaians left Nigeria. And they left with nothing, because Ghana wasn't really doing well. So they thought the Nigerians were there, and they were doing fine. But for whatever reason, the Nigerians felt like the little jobs, the minor jobs, or the other skilled jobs that the Ghanaians were doing, and which are doing well, some of them were even teachers in some schools, and they were good teachers, The Nigerians felt like the Ghanaians are taking their job. Then the Ghanaians left. But what has become of Nigeria now since when the Ghanaians have left? Do Nigerians have more job? Do we have a better economy? Hell no. So it's obvious that the problem wasn't the immigrants, the problem was the government. So it's a global thing. Anywhere else, everywhere else in the world, when politicians fail, when government fail, they prop up these ideas among some gullible, uneducated, unconscious citizens to say, go spread the ideology that, is this foreigners, or is this group of people, or is this race, or is this tribe that is making whatever we have for you not to be enough. But then you realize that, wait, the immigrants you're talking about pay taxes. The taxes also help fund the healthcare, fund other things. They are contributing. I mean, the good ones contributing. The bad ones, if you feel they are bad ones, if your government is functioning properly, the police or any other agency will do their job by, maybe arrest them and charge them for whatever crime they've committed and send them back to wherever they come from. If they don't want to be a productive member of that society that have hosted them. That would be the way to go about it. But if you now make enemy of other Africans or South Africans, you make enemy of other Africans simply because you feel they're taking your job, well, the good news is you might have your South Africans yourself. But the bad news is you might just not have future friends, and that matters a lot in global politics. Global allies are what we all need, or every nation needs. So especially your nearest or immediate or neighboring countries, should be people you have global arrangements with. So the local South Africans crying about immigrants taking their jobs, I would say put that pressure on your parliament members, put that pressure on your political leaders to enact the laws you feel that you want to see effective in your country. So if the laws are enacted and those laws says no immigrants, well, the embassies shut down, no immigrants. Simple. It's not hard. And nobody comes in South Africa, and maybe they put a border patrol to the neighboring ones and make sure nobody's crossing your borders. But if you don't want to go around harassing other humans just like you who, for economic reasons or for whatever reason, decide to, move to South Africa and survive, you're not realizing what you're doing, because it just shows that you don't have the memory to remember what just happened in the immediate past. So it will be best that you think about that. And it could be anybody, anytime, anytime. It could be anybody. It could be South Africans tomorrow. And you would have the people from Zimbabwe, the people from Malawi, the people from Namibia, Lesotho, standing with you in solidarity. But this is not to say that, they don't have their reasons for what they're saying, but I'm just saying that the method they should go about it should not be against the immigrants. If you have a problem with some doing illegal things in your country, I'll say go get the police to do what they have to do on them, get them arrested and shipped out of your country. If you want the laws to be changed where you don't want anybody coming in South Africa, get your parliament, man. Get, elections coming, make a demand with your parliamentarians and say, hey, guys, this is what we want. And that they will do. And once they do that, it means that nobody else is going to come in South Africa. And nobody else coming in South Africa, it means you don't have immigrants in South Africa. Then you guys can have all the job. But if you don't do that, if your government officials are aligning with every other nation, doing business, collaborating, signing MOUs, engaging in business, and even South African business all over Africa, MTN, DSTV, and all that. It's like, yeah, you can't say the other Africans shouldn't come and do business in South Africa, and MTN is in Nigeria ripping money off every month, shipping all that money back to South Africa. It makes no sense, So, but if you want to lock it up, just lock it up. And every other African nation is going to say, well, okay, if we're locking up South Africa, then let's just lock up our adult South Africa as well. And everybody's going to be fine, because in the end, it's not my point. Yeah, to buttress my point in the end, that government failure is where you see ideologies like this come from. Not necessarily that the immigrants are taking your jobs. It's just your government failure. And once you're able to address that, you realize that the ordinary Nigerian or Malawian or Zimbabwean in South Africa is just doing what they have to do to survive. And that's just what it is.